Eugene, how you doing?
What's happening, Jamal? I like that poster behind you.
Yeah, I'm trying to represent.
There you go.
Congratulations on your second big feature. Well, one thing the first question I had was like the age of streaming. It seems like it's afforded so many different types of stories that weren't told before. As a writer, have you been dusting off stories that you may have had in the 90s or 80s that a studio wouldn't do and trying to, I know this is like a long-term project, but is there anything that you had before that you think now might be the time that some of these streaming platforms would produce as opposed to what big studios turned their back on decades ago?
It's a great question. I mean, I think that the quick answer is yes, just because there's such a need for content on a streamer that studios don't need to, put out that amount of content. So it's opening up, if you can make them, I guess, at a certain budget or something like that, there's going to be definitely a demand for certain types of stories. But this thing was hard as hell to get made, to be frank, just because we're not used to seeing Black folks not framed through our adversity. So people just didn't know if there was an audience for it. They were like, well, it's not like I could just go to something like Girls Trip that made $200 million and be like, see, Black people want to see that, So I didn't have that example. So now also, because there is a Sylvie's Love, perhaps it'll be easier to make more movies like that. So.
Yeah. How fun was it to play in a period like you kind of alluded to a little bit, but like most of our period pieces has us as characters in suffrage and rags and slave gear or something like that. But how fun was it to play us in these regal outfits that we used to wear back in the day and have Tessa and Nnamdi among the other cast members represent us as a culture in that time?
It was amazing. It was really fly as hell, and we all felt very empowered by it, that we got to play like that. And the truth of the matter is that I got people coming up to me just like, wow, finally, like that's what my whole family photo album looks like. That's what my parents look like. That's what my grandparents look like. We knew that's what we look like, and we knew that that's what was going on during that time, but we just hadn't seen it depicted in movies. So it's great that at least we have one now, maybe hopefully there'll be more. But I'd like to see us in the past when we're just, existing. Doesn't have to be, traumatized or oppressed.
And I know for most directors, it's not about the awards and all of that, but with this year being a year that really focused on the streaming platforms and us likely having the Oscars that will have the majority of the best pictures being played on streaming platforms. Do you think that's going to change the landscape of what our best picture movies would be going forward, even if we get back to some type of normalcy in theaters and everything else?
Also a really good question. I think that ultimately we're making film, and so even if they start a new category for that, I know I've seen certain like I know certain awards already have like a TV movie section, NAACP awards, a couple of the other awards have just made for TV, like a made for TV movie thing. And maybe it'll be like a streaming section. I don't know what's going to happen with theaters. Theaters before, the truth of the matter is before this happened, it was already like starting to get iffy. People were like, what is really, streamers are already blowing up. So this just kind of put a nail in the coffin, and the road back to seeing movies en masse is going to be a tough one, because people do like the comfort of their own house, and people have now set up this situation so that they could watch movies with surround sound and everything. I know I have.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the time, and I can't wait to see what other projects you got coming up. Thanks for telling this story in this period about our culture and this love story, and two great actors in Tessa and Nnamdi for sure. So can't wait to see whatever you got, man. Be safe out there. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Tell your family about it.
I will. Thank you.
Man.